Hello and welcome. In this episode, you will discover how to increase your profits right away, simple marketing strategies you can use now without spending more money on marketing and advertising, how to overcome a struggle or two within your business. My guest today is Steve Feld, and we're talking about simple marketing secrets. Surprise, surprise. Welcome, Steve.
Well, thanks for having me.
Great to have you. Let me do the proper introduction for Steve, and we're going to dive into a very interesting conversation about simple marketing secrets on the Simple Marketing Show, which is going to be very interesting, I guess. So, Biz Coach Steve Feld is a certified business coach, author, podcast host, professional speaker, mastermind facilitator, and coffee enthusiast. He is passionate about having small business owners and entrepreneurs achieve massive revenue and profitability growth by utilizing simple, proven strategies and tactics to build a long term sustainable business. Steve takes the overwhelm out of business. He has owned and operated 7 lucrative businesses while providing change management and process improvement for other businesses. Has operated within 3 Fortune 500 companies, written 8 books about business for entrepreneurs, and overall, he is just an awesome guy that I've known for a few years. Welcome, Steve.
Well, thanks.
How is your day so far, my friend?
Busy. I love it.
That is awesome. That is awesome. What keeps you busy these days?
A lot of talking to prospects, potential clients,
Yeah,
business owners. So I'm in many different also groups as well, full of business owners, and I just love helping them and seeing them all survive and thrive.
love it. So let's dive into it. Oh, well, before we dive into it, where are you located?
I'm in Scottsdale, Arizona.
And what's it like out there? Is it summer right now?
Well, it's freezing right now for us.
Is
It's
it? It's probably
we
that's like our summer up here in Canada.
Yeah, well, it's 55 Fahrenheit for us today, which is way below our normal at this time of year.
Let me just do a quick check and see. You said 55?
Yes,
That's like spring for us.
exactly. That is
Yeah.
your spring.
Look,
But to
look.
us, it's hell's freezing. So
Oh, I know. Like it's been around zero this January up in Calgary, and it feels like spring for us. Like zero freezing temperature. And
you're not
so,
getting all the snow.
what's that?
You're not getting all the snow.
We're getting some snow, but not as much as you not as much as what we usually get in January.
Okay.
So, Steve, what is your story?
Let's see. Well, you kind of hit a few things. Owned and operated 7 businesses, and I turned around 3 others, and then participated in 3 Fortune 500 companies. I just found on my very first business where my passion lied, and that was working with owner operators of businesses because seeing the failure rate of small business owners just kills me. I mean, it really just bothers me. So that's where my passion lies is, let's help these business owners realize their goals and dreams.
Hmm.
And I've been teaching a workshop called ABCs of Starting a Business for 7 years, and I do it 1 to 3 times a month. And I volunteer to do it. And the reason is it's like I want people to be successful in business because small business owners actually make up 97% of all the businesses in the world. So without them, the world economy would come to a halt. And people think of the big names, that's a small sliver of all the businesses. So one business might employ, 100,000 people, but that one business needs probably 10,000 small businesses to get their supplies, their materials, and everything else. So the
Absolutely.
small businesses are feeding the big ones, and people have to realize that. So, and you're giving back to your community, and I love seeing people really realize their dreams and not having it turned into a nightmare.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I know you touched on it already a little bit. So what do you do these days and who do you serve?
I serve owner operators, primarily service based businesses. It's almost in every industry. I used to have a niche in an industry. A lot of my one-on-one clients are CPAs currently. I just don't know how. I speak their lingo, I guess. And I've been starting a new mastermind group starting in February. So we're filling that up. And I just did a workshop early today, before I went to go see a prospect on strategic marketing, because a lot of business owners, small business owners, they don't have any plans for the whole year. And I know if you have a plan and you execute your plan, you have a higher chance of success. It's just funny how this works.
Yeah, if you know what you're doing and what you're going for, you're a lot more likely to achieve it. Like it's impossible, and I've been saying this for a long time. It's impossible to get something if you don't know what it is. Like,
that's it.
What do you want? I don't know what I want. How are you going to get something if you don't know what it is?
Yeah, and I hear from small business owners all the time. Well, I want to make $1 million. Why? I don't know. It sounded cool.
Yeah.
Well, let's get some thought into this.
Yeah.
Well,
let's see what you actually want.
Yeah.
Do you really want this? Are you going to put up all the work and hours and the everything you need to put in to get it? A lot of people. Yeah. Oh, my friend said it's cool.
Yeah.
You know, I saw an ad from Grant Cardone. He said it's easy, so I thought I would do it too.
Yeah, I bought his book, so I should be making $1 million here in 5 weeks, right?
Right. I'm going to 10x in 5 weeks.
Yeah, exactly. You can't, and I tell people that all the time. And it's how you going to 10x zero? What is that result?
Yeah. Or I 3x'd my sales. I went from $100 to $300.
Yeah.
Woo! So you touched on something when you were talking, and that's the topic of prospects. And when it comes to the world of marketing, it's probably the biggest problem with every business that we know, unless they're fairly established. But small businesses, they're always hungry for leads and prospects, right, and they're usually looking for ways to do it. How do you, it seems like you have a good flow of prospects and leads. How do you do it? Because we have a lot of coaches and small businesses that watch our show. What's your process for that?
I set up many different systems, and I love systems. I'm a marketing operations guy. Those are my jam right there, and I just love it, and setting up systems. So I know we're gonna talk probably about it, but one of them, it's like joint ventures. If you have joint ventures, they're actually can feed your pipeline, if you will, from another source. And I'm a big proponent of having joint ventures. And once I really started getting established in joint ventures, I started realizing like, wow, I'm getting great leads coming in. And what did I do? I created a relationship with this many individuals.
Love it. How do you, what's the process for, is joint venture your number one thing or one of your better lead gen strategies?
Yeah, I'd say joint ventures are, especially during the pandemic. Pandemic too, your database is your gold. I hope, I'm telling everyone, if you're not filtering or funneling some way of collecting data on prospects, their name and email, and staying in touch with them, I mean, that's one of your best lead gens there is. So they might not be what we call a now buyer, someone who's like looking, I need to buy right now. They might be a future buyer where they need to just gather information through their journey, the buyer's journey. And by you having them on your email list, your newsletter, podcast, whatever it may be, you're taking them on that journey. So when they're ready to buy, you're the one who comes to mind. So I believe on bringing people into your tribe, if you will, and nurturing them. And you need to have many ways to do that. It's not like the old way. You go network and collect business cards and put them in your CRM and, reach out to them whenever you need something. That's
right.
The old way.
Love it. Love it. So talking about nurturing, how do you nurture your list? What are some ways that you nurture your list that is working for you?
I'm a big proponent of funnels and automation too. If something can do it when I'm not doing it, I love it. So one way is to give away a book, a guide, a worksheet, a video that's going to give content, not sales. Don't be the salesy. but give away your content. And I know a lot of small business owners like, if I give it away, they're not going to buy. That's bull hockey. You're not giving them the secret sauce. You're giving them the burger, right? The burger and the bun, but you want the secret sauce, is what's the magic. Now they need you.
Right.
So give them the burger. Get them into a pipeline, a drip campaign. So you're reaching out to them on an automated sequence, and then funnel them into like a newsletter. I have a newsletter that goes out every other week religiously. And it has an article that's going to help them in their business. And then it has also affiliates or joint venture partners I have in there as well. So if they like those offers, they can opt into those people's lists. And then anything that, podcast, here are the latest podcast episodes. You might not be a subscriber on my podcast channel, but I notice they're not a subscriber on the channel, but they'll listen to an episode because it's in the newsletter. So
you email your podcaster list.
So I put the podcast, actually the episodes, in my newsletter, like in case you missed it, which is true. We all get busy. I mean, sometimes I don't go back and listen to like whoever I have on a guest. Like if I have you on my show, it's like, I'll go listen to your podcast. I really do. And I listen to someone's podcast before I'm a guest on their show. Because it's like, is this a right fit for me? Am I going to contribute value to their audience? And that's what I'm always thinking. I want to contribute some great value.
For sure. So did you listen to our podcast?
Yes. It was a while ago, I think, because I booked it quite some time ago.
Was it good? Did you like it? Yeah. Or did you not like it? Be honest with me. Honestly.
Yeah. I do. If I didn't like it, we wouldn't be having a conversation. I'll be honest with you. I've heard some bad podcasts. Well, it's subjective, but I'll say I've heard some podcasts where I didn't think I would be a good guest for them.
Fair enough. So here's what I'm doing. Here's our maybe exposed and coached moment. I am actively working on improving the podcast. Since you are a coach and you're a podcaster and you have listened to our podcast, what feedback do you have for me for the entire process since you signed up until you're here today? What can we improve on?
It's funny you mention that, because when I started looking at podcasts, because this is going to fall into it, I was a guest for 1.5 years to almost 2 years as a guest. What I did is I just asked for 5 extra minutes after the podcast with the host.
Uh-huh.
I said, can you give me 5 minutes? I'm not selling you anything. I'm going to ask you 1,000,000 questions right now. And they go, okay, sure. So I'd ask them, how'd you start it? What platform do you use? How'd you get your music? How do you rank yourself? How did you find keywords? Everything. How do you find guests? What is the process? And I tell people, what you're doing to bring guests into your podcast should be the same thing why business owners should be bringing in prospects into their business. There is no real difference, right? The difference is you get to interview them on a great platform. Having that process make it easy for them to sign up and get something out of it. So in this case, hey, I want to be your guest. And you made it easy. Here's a form. Fill it out. It's pretty darn easy. I learned that. Make it simple. Don't make it overly complex. I don't need to know your blood type. Next, have follow-up. So once they register, get them booked because it's hot and it's in the heat of the moment. Same thing with your prospects. They just downloaded your guide. Get them on offer. Get them on your calendar or another way they can contact you. So you did that. And then follow up. And I know my newsletter, my podcast, sometimes the guests book so tight, they get their follow up after they're already a guest. They've already done the show. But you had follow up, and you always want to do reminders. And you did all that. And I learned the reminders are the key. So that's why I have it in my Calendly system. So it does 3 days in advance, 2 days in advance, a day in advance, the day of, an hour before. Why? We're business owners. Stuff happens. Like I mentioned you, right before this call, I had a few minutes between my last call. I just went and got water and came back, took a deep breath, and let's do this.
Yeah. So, do you have any feedback for me? Any constructive? I appreciate what you shared. Do you have any constructive criticism? The more you feel like it's going to hurt me, the more I love it. The more you expose me and like, Mustafa, here's what you did wrong. Here's what you could improve on. Do you have any of that for me?
You did everything I would recommend too, is swipe copy. So let's make it easy for people when we're talking about swipe copy, something that someone could copy and paste and make a couple word changes to make it more them, and paste. Don't make it so difficult. You did all that and you provided graphics. So that also takes the headache out. I know I do that on my show. Here's the graphics. And I get feedback all the time. Like, you made it so easy just to copy and paste. Good. So you're doing everything. I think the elements that I look for and I appreciate and I learned. And I've had to learn those the hard way.
Fair enough. If you remember anything, I appreciate the feedback. So you work with do you primarily work with small business owners or mid-size, bigger, or what's your target audience?
Primarily small. So I have automated programs for startups, nice and easy for them. But I'd say most of the clients I have in group or mastermind and one-on-one are anywhere from $500,000 all the way to 20 million.
$500,000 to 20 million. All right. So, and then what do you like about working with small business owners?
I found my passion was the owner operator because I've been a C-suite. And one of my businesses, I only focused on C-suite individuals. One time I was like, something's just not right here after working with a CEO and a CFO in the same company because I had two different meetings with them. I realized they're hired hands. At the end of the day, they're worried about their contracts. So are they really passionate about moving the business? They are, but because they want the bonus. Other than that, they had no passion in it. So I love the owner operator who has skin in the game. I know what they're going through. I've lived it, too many times. I know what it feels like to wake up in a cold sweat at 2 a.m. worrying about payroll tomorrow. I know that feeling and I can relate to that. I also know the feeling of being a CEO going, yeah, oh, payroll's due on Friday. I'll just have my CFO deal with it. Done. I can go back to sleep. Whereas you're the owner operator, you're not going back to sleep.
What do you see as one of the top struggles for small business owners?
I'd say the number one is, well, of course, they always want more revenue, but they should be saying, I want more profit. Because revenue is for show, profit is what you take home to mama. That's how I look at it. So you're looking at the wrong things. They don't know their numbers. And accounting is the language of business. So you need to really know your numbers. And I'd say the number one thing is they just don't ask for help.
Don't ask for help.
Plenty of people that can help them. So they're trying to, let's say they hate doing accounting. So they're doing it all themselves, getting frustrated, taking too long, and they're messing it up. And the IRS is knocking on the door because they messed it up. Whereas if you would have asked for help and hired someone, they could have done it in an eighth of the time, way less money if you do the math, and IRS is loving you. So you have to ask for help.
Yeah, if we feel like we're going to save money with doing our own stupid accounting, I mean, accounting is not stupid. It's really good, but it's not my thing, and I'm not good at it. I would gladly pay someone with grab a bag of receipts and be like, bill me, because I'm not going to deal with it. Some people love it, and that's great. I would not be saving money. I would pull my hair out. Let whoever's good at it do it. So
when you do the math at how much your hourly rate is and how much time you spent on that to get the learning curve, you could have paid someone $25 and they could have done it in an hour. Meanwhile, it's taking you 30 hours.
That's right. That's right. So you talk about profits. And I know back in the day, I learned from Dan Kennedy. He said a business owner's sole and most important job is to make profits. And most people don't even think about that. They just
Right.
think about getting busy, and they act like they're very productive by being busy.
Right.
What's the approach on making profits? Because I know this is a big deal. Like most companies are not profitable.
Right. You know, great examples like Uber. They're not profitable.
They're not, eh?
No.
Why
I
is
mean,
that?
they're a disruptor of the industry. They're a unicorn with a 1 billion value, over a 1 billion valuation. But are they making a penny?
I
No,
don't know.
they're not. And they're in the hole because they have investors and everything else. So when a small business owner needs to focus on profit, because that's going to have your cash flow to keep you alive, keep the business afloat. It's going to, so you can pay yourself and bring home something so you can stay living where you're living. And I totally agree with Dan Kennedy. That's what drives me nuts about many small business owners. They're so focused on the top number. They should be really focusing on the bottom number,
Yeah.
controlling the costs, watching, going lean, especially when you start. Go lean. You don't need business
Yeah.
cards when you start a business. You do not need it, really.
Yeah. What are the so you said some business owners don't know their numbers. What are maybe top 2 or 3 numbers people or business owners should know, like all the time?
Well, they should know their revenue and their profits and
Hmm.
the difference. It's like, what are their cost of goods, or what's their net profit margin? So how much of what they take in is expense? So if you take in $100 and you know you have $50 of expenses, okay, that's what you should be knowing. Do you need to be an accountant or a CPA to really understand everything? No. Should you sit with your CPA and have them explain what a profit loss statement is? Yes. And I even wrote a book to focus on 3 numbers on your profit loss statement. To know those, now you can move the lever and the dials. So your cost of goods, you really need to be in control of your costs all the time.
Yeah, there was a guy I know here in Canada, a Persian guy that used to own Future Shop, an old company that Best Buy bought, and they kind of shut it down. And then I knew a guy who knows the guy was named Mr. K, and he said this guy Mr. K would take care of all of his payables himself and keep an eye on it. So you got to know how much money is going out,
Yeah.
and then this guy's worth probably, I don't know, hundreds of millions of dollars, if not billions. And so that's what this guy did. He would sit around and look for the payables, what are we paying out, and keeping an eye on it, which was interesting.
Absolutely. I mean, one of my clients was a CPA, and we started looking at their books. Okay, CPAs are great with numbers, right? They're not the best business people necessarily. We started looking at the books, and I saw you have receivables, amount owed to you of 600,000.
Where is it?
You're an accountant. If you saw this on someone else's books, what would be the first thing you would say? I'd freak out and go, well, why didn't you collect that? And I go, well, then that's my answer to you. You're losing money. You just lost 600,000 that people owe you and you haven't collected. So the first thing we focused on was getting the 600,000. That turned his business around from losing money to all of a sudden making money, because he didn't control his receivables, how much he was owed in. And now his receivables are zero.
Nice. So he just cashed in on the 600 grand that people owe him, and
Yeah.
that's like the fastest. That's actually been one of my fastest way to get cash. Literally, like opening the receivables and calling people up or emailing them saying, "Hey, uh, looks like we haven't received. I could be wrong, but looks like we haven't received the payment on this." And they're like, "Oh my god, I'm so sorry. Here's my credit card, or here's an email transfer, or whatever," and then I immediately get cash. I love doing that.
And you know, a lot of business owners are like, oh my God, well, it's been like 7 months. They're never going to remember it. You know what? Business owners forget. And what you said happens, I'd say 8 out of 10 times. Let's take
Yep.
care of it right now, because they feel bad. Oops, it fell through their cracks.
Yep.
And then you'll have the one who, well, I don't know you anything, and they want to play the game. Fine, they're a bad client. Get rid of them. Write it off as bad debt. And then the other one, you know what? They just want to see the receipt again. So you have to do a little digging. Big
Yeah.
deal.
Yeah. Love it. Good. So, you have written so many books, and one of them is 45-minute breakthrough. Can you share some of the breakthroughs with us?
Yes. That book showcases 8 simple strategies that any business owner can put in their business that day without spending more on marketing or advertising. And we have hundreds, but I want to focus on 8. And I mentioned one of them already, which is one of my favorite, and it's joint ventures. So I love the joint venture partnership. I just spoke to a business owner today about this, about doing cross-selling, upselling, and downselling. And
Uh-huh.
when I said that to them, they gave me that, like, what are you talking about? And the easiest way I convey this when I'm talking to someone, it's the simplest marketing strategy is just about everyone's been to McDonald's. So when you buy a meal to upsell, would you like to supersize that? Same thing in your business, whatever it is, would you like to take the next level? So you might have another level of products and services. And then you could cross sell. So would you like an apple pie with your Happy Meal? So an ancillary product that now separates you from all your competitors because they cannot compare apples to apples anymore, because now you're giving them more value. And then downsell, well, I can't get you in the Lexus. So how about if I get you in the Toyota? Oh, I can't get you in the Toyota. How about if I get you in the Ford? I mean, what is your downsell strategy?
You're in a Cobalt.
Yeah. Next thing you know, it's funny. I saw one of the car. I can never remember the name of it. It was a Colt. It was like every time someone hit the back of it, it exploded. It's from decades ago. And I saw one on the road, and I'm thinking, I can't believe you're allowed to drive that thing.
Interesting. Yeah, those are some great strategies. So it's upsell, downsell, cross sell, and those are the 3 strategies.
Yeah, and they're simple. It's like, what do you have in your business? We've done this with women's boutiques. I did it with an online business as well. So we had the good, better, best kind of packages. I've done it with CPAs. So they said, well, I think you're in this package, but we have this one. Now I'm upselling. Well, I can't afford that. So you back down, downsell it. Well, I can't do that one. We have one more package below that you can downsell them into. Or bundling, if you sell products, a bundle discount, multi-purchase discounts, first-time buyer offers. I'm not a big fan of discounts. I don't know I'm using that term, but a first-time buyer, I'll give you a special rate. Get them in.
Yeah. Is there any? Do you have any tips for people on when and where they stop adding products to their list? Because I've seen people where they have too many upsells, too many downsells, and the operation is now derailed. They cannot deliver well on every single one of them, and now they're screwed. Is there like a line or limit on how much upsell and downselling or cross-selling we could do?
Absolutely. I worked with a company who created ceramic tiles, and they had hundreds of styles. So I went to their warehouse, and it was just mind-boggling to me. And I'm like, so all these sell, right? And they go, well, no. So now we start looking at it, because I also have my green belt in Six Sigma. So it's like, let's look at it from a Six Sigma point of view. What are your winners and what are your dogs? So once we start looking at that, they had so much money wrapped up in inventory in the dogs, it was hurting the business.
Yeah.
So we came up with a way to cross sell. If you buy like this product A, we're going to throw in for an extra X dollars product Z. Blew out all that bad inventory, never to bring it back again. Now his line was down here. Guess what? We had to reanalyze it. Winners and dogs. So we got more dogs. Did the same thing. He got his line down to like 40 some styles that were highly profitable. And now
got rid of the rest.
the turnover, he never had inventory anymore.
Good.
So we got
Good.
rid of a whole warehouse because no need for storing excess. It was
Yeah.
going right out the door.
Yeah. Is that the equivalent to like doing like an 80-20 analysis?
Yeah,
Pretty much. Yeah. Okay.
absolutely. Pareto principle works on just about every single thing in the
Everything.
world.
Everything. Yeah.
It's crazy.
Mm.
And it works.
It works everywhere. Like you said, people that don't pay their accounts, probably 10 or 5 or I don't know, 1 or 2% of your customers don't pay. Those are the to get rid of list.
That's it. And
Yeah.
one of my clients, we actually, the time they spent with clients, every single client, because they had it by time jobs, we found his worst clients sucked up 80% of their time. Their best clients used 20. Wait, the worst clients actually paid the least as well. 80-20, back on that too. And we got rid of the worst clients. Guess what? Now he turned it around. So 80% of the time was on the best clients. And they were the higher paid now, or higher paid.
Oh yeah.
And it turned his whole, the morale in the office changed like
100%.
immediately.
Absolutely. Love it. And then you probably want to spend more time finding more customers like the top 20% type of customers versus just tiny little, you know.
Oh, I've done it in my businesses. I've done it with looking at my inventories, like what are my dogs? And I'm going, why am I carrying that inventory? I know better. And then let's blow it up, but I know how. And I won an award for lowering my cost of goods
100%.
through that method.
Absolutely. So I noticed on your site you talked about a software that you have that helps people find 100 grand, and that's a big promise. How does that work?
Oh, it's pretty darn easy. I think it's some proprietary software we have, and I actually run a business through it. They're with me on like Zoom, so they're seeing it live. And I look at 12 different areas of business itself. And all I do is ask questions. I put in their answers, and it runs it through 497 million algorithms. And then we're finding hidden revenue right then and there in 45 minutes. Things that we think that we know in our business is shocking, because I have a deeper one called a deep dive that once someone's a client, and I've ran businesses through that, and they've learned more about their business going through that than them being in their own business, because it's things they don't look at or think of. It's making them think differently. But once we find that hidden revenue, we actually can have now an implementation schedule to turn it into reality. And we have our process like, okay, now let's work together and let's do it in reality. And we always look for some quick wins and hits right away, which are right in front of them now because they now see it.
Yeah. Quick win. Collect 650 grand.
That's it. Yeah. I was.
How about that for starters?
Yeah. I mean, one of my challenges I put out to some prospects, it's like, listen, if you have an issue saying you can't afford me or anything like that, which is not true, because there's always a will, there's a way. But when we sit down together for 90 minutes, I'll have you bring certain documents to the meeting. I will find you your investment in me plus an ROI within the 90 minutes.
Absolutely. So we're halfway through the show again. If you're watching or listening, please make sure to like and subscribe to the channel on whichever channel you're watching. If you have any questions for Steve and I, just post them in a comment and we'll try to address it now or later if we see it after we're done with the show. And feel free to send the link of this conversation to a friend or tag them on social media so they could see it and benefit from all the value bombs that Steve is dropping, and include them in the conversation. So we talked about profits and how not a lot of people think about it. They don't even think about it. Never mind like doing it. What are some quick, easy ways to increase profits?
I'll tell you, they can do it within 10 minutes.
10 minutes.
10 minutes.
10-minute profit strategy, guys. Listen
right
in.
here. And it's not, this is what it's going to cost you.
Zero.
Zero. So the first thing is look at your costs. Look at all your expenses. And people go, well, I look at my expenses every month. No, are you really looking at your expenses? Pull out your personal credit card bills. Pull out your business credit card, your bank statements. Look at what you've been paying that you're not using. Great example. How's that annual fitness program that you're paying a
Working out
monthly
for you.
fee for that you're not even going to? It's little things like that are sucking the life out of your business, and you're not realizing it because they're in small little increments. And I associate this with your personal budgeting is that people are buying like $7 subscriptions to all these online services. You don't realize by the time you really look at it, you're spending hundreds of dollars a month on these little teeny subscription services.
Yeah.
So look at your costs. Could you reduce your costs by this much percent? 5%. That's it. 5. And when I talk to business owners, they always kind of laugh. They're like, of course I can cut my cost by 5%. I could do that right now just by looking at my statements. It's that easy. It's not some long drawn out process that you have to need a committee over. You can do this on your own right now. Not only that, the next thing is, could you increase your prices by 5.5%?
Increase prices.
By 5.5%. We just have a calendar year flip over. Hopefully all business owners did do a price increase because they looked at their cost. Look at your vendors. They've been increasing their costs on you all year. And have you adjusted your pricing to match it, to accommodate for it? Odds are most small business owners are so scared of raising prices. Well, I'm going to lose clients. But if you rose at 5.5%, how many clients will you really, really lose?
Mm-hmm.
And I've done the math in boardrooms, in business owners' conference rooms, CEOs' rooms, showing them the math that how many clients you're going to lose is so small. Those are the clients who are going to leave you if you raise your price by a penny. So you got to get over that. They're not seeing the value of your service, and hopefully you're showing value of your products and services. So when you do raise a measly 5.5, which no one will really even notice, it's easy. One of my clients raised their prices 40%. He lost 20% of sales in the first month. The next month, he doubled his sales because now he was seen as a higher value in the industry. So he weeded out all the price sensitive individuals and gained another, I think it was 10,000. He sold another 10,000 units the second month with higher prices. So do you think he was profitable or did he lose money? I mean, he didn't lose money losing the 200 clients. It was like,
I know, Steve. I know a lot of businesses are so much undervalued, and their prices are so low that they could probably double, triple, or 5x their prices and still, be okay and make a ton more profit. But like you said, most people are scared. Honestly, I have looked at my prices and I realized that I put such a significant discount on my higher levels, and I'm not making profits. And I went in there and I just got rid of it. Because I did exactly what you said. I looked at my expenses and what I have to pay out to my team members, and like, there's nothing left, or there's just not enough for me. It's just not worth it. I'm like busting my rear end every day, all day from 4 a.m. till like, midnight, and it's just not worth going through all this trouble. So I just increased the prices.
That's it. I even did this with a CP on one of his packages. So every time he sold one of these packages, he actually lost $5,000, real money. And so we increased his prices. But I'd say to any business owner, you could do this today. Increase your prices by 5.5%. No one's good. You might lose one person, or someone might bat an eye or make a comment. Guess what? Prices have gone up. Look at eggs, milk, gas. There's a million billion examples.
Yeah. I mean, everyone else is raising their prices. Why not me or you? Almost everything is almost between double down to like 30% higher compared to 2 or 3 years ago.
Absolutely.
And some people are still trying to stay competitive.
You're not
Like,
competitive anymore. You're called the cheapest. And that's
yeah,
the worst thing you could be known for, is the cheapest.
that's right. So we talked. So Tim, look at your cost, increase your prices. Is there anything else we could do to?
You know, if you did those two things, no matter what your revenue was, your profit number was, if you did the math, and I have a simulator that even does this, it will double your revenue, or sorry, double your profits just by those two things. Reduce expenses by 5%, which you could do right now, and increase your prices by 5.5%. That's it.
Love it. Two things: reduce costs, increase price.
Yeah. And it's going to cost you $0 to implement this.
Yeah. You just go and edit the numbers. That's it.
Yeah. Do your own numbers. Put in your net profit margin, your costs, gross profit margin, which is, you can Google what the gross profit margin is, the average of your industry, believe it or not. It's on the internet. And use these kind of stats for your business.
Man, I think that this is so simple, and such a simple thing that people sometimes overlook the simple things that they could do. And they're like, I am looking for some sophisticated software to analyze what I'm doing and give me a 372-step process that I will not do anyway, but I'm still looking for it. But I'm also not going to give the 10-minute look at my bank statements to find some stuff I could get rid of. And I'm afraid to, like, Steve, increase my prices. So I'm just not going to do that. I'm going to continue to be a loser in my business. But can you give me a way to get out of this?
Exactly.
Was that pretty close?
You nailed it. It's so true. I mean, I had one business owner fought me tooth and nail about raising prices. I'm going to lose all these clients. And I said, we came up with a list of all their current clients. I said, who do you want to lose? Really, if you had the choice to, like, money's not an issue, to get rid of because they're mean, nasty, whatever, pain in the butt. And she created the list. I go, there's your 20% bottom feeders who are sucking up 80% of your time. Guess what? We raised prices by the bottom feeders immediately.
Immediately. Isn't that such a relief?
Oh my God, she was
amazing?
So happy after that. And now she's making more money. So go figure it out.
Absolutely. So we talked about helping people overcome one or two struggles within their business. Is there, I mean, we talked about a few struggles like the price, the profits, and this and that. Is there anything else that you can give and share some tips to our audience about typical struggles they could get rid of?
Yeah, one of the things, since I work with a lot of, smaller size businesses, to scale and grow, you cannot be that individual. You're going to have to bring on people. You know that. You have people. I've had multiple businesses with people. I learned right away, always hire my coach taught me this, always hire people smarter than you. And when I first heard that, I'm like, but, I had a million buts. And they were like, are you an idiot? They are trained in that area, which you are not. You're hiring them to do that one job that you cannot do. Why would you want to get involved?
Yeah.
And once that really sunk in, I was like, I had one of my businesses, I hired unbelievable people. And all I did was give them the direction and give them the tools and the support they needed. They grew my business. That was the key. And that's when I started realizing I am not in my business anymore. I am leading my business, not managing it. It was controlling me. They would yell at me if I'm coming in on a Saturday to do the books. What do you mean? So-and-so is doing the books for $10 an hour. Get out of here. And that's when I was like, oh my God, I have unbelievable employees. You could take a vacation and never hear from them. That's what you want in your business. That's a
That
business.
is what you want. Let me ask you a question about hiring, because past 2 or 3 weeks, I had an issue with hiring. Hired a couple of people. One of them quit like in 2 or 3 days. Another one quit the week after. And I was out there interviewing people like 15, 20 hours a week. And then I put together a system to do group interviews, which to me felt like I discovered fire. And it was like probably one of the best things I've done in the past 10 years. What suggestions do you have for finding the right people and then getting them to stay and have them, be interested?
Yeah, working with CPAs they always have a problem hiring people.
Uh-huh.
Well, many businesses do. And the first thing I always say, let me see your ad. That's the first thing. And they always wonder why. Well, if your ad is general and non-specific, you're going to get a billion resumes. Now you got to weed through it. And you know what? You're going to get frustrated and tired. And you're going to just start picking whoever has a heartbeat. And that's what happens with most businesses. It happens at companies too. Don't get me wrong. But the more specific you are with your ad, that's the start. And then what is your hiring process? Is it a phone call after you weed it down to like 10, 30, whatever the number is of resumes? What are the questions you're going to ask? It's a quick 10, 15-minute call just to see if they can get over the hurdle, if you will. Nothing, we're not getting in deep stuff. We're not getting into behavioral based questions yet, but you want to know some of the basics about them. Are they really what they say on paper? That's really what you're weeding out. Then you whittle that list down to say from 30 down to 10. Now you have your behavioral based interview questions. So those are preset depending on the job and the duty and the tasks that you want them to do. There are tons of resources online for that, and many, many HR sites that have books and volumes on behavioral based questions. But you just want to pick about 10 of those specific for that bit, that job, that task, that duties, and listen to their responses, because it puts them in a situation. What was the situation? What were your actions? And what is the result? That's what you're listening for. Now you're down to probably about 2 or 3 candidates. And I've done this at many businesses. I said, you're looking for this many people. Bring on those 3 top candidates. And they're like, but it's going to cost me. I go, it's going to be one of the best investments you're ever going to make. So for 30 days, you get them in the first week, you work with them. You're going to have you or someone have a training plan, work with them, getting them going and watching what they do for the next 3 weeks. Now you're down to probably 1 or 2 candidates. Give them another 30 days to fight it out, if you will. Now's when you're going to see the cream rise to the top. Now, when you hire that one, they respect it, but then you onboard them like they just won the Oscars. You have an onboarding program that's unbelievable. And instead of doing the typical, hey, the 30, 60, 90-day reviews, which I think that's old school nowadays, why not have a weekly just check-in meeting where you start off, the owner, whoever it is, checks in, hey, how's it going? What are you working on? Tell me, what are you seeing? Get their feedback and say, okay, here's where our next steps are. Have them almost start creating the agenda. I've done this in many of my businesses. And I'd start off, how you doing? Great. I'm working on this. I've accomplished this. I'm going to be working on this next, and it's going to do this for the business. I sat back going, I'm not even taking notes. They're taking notes and giving me a copy. I'm like, oh, this got a lot better. And I didn't lose any employees because they were engaged and they owned the position. And I gave them the leeway to own the position. But it was hard. I'll be honest with you. It was hard to make that transition. It was not
So
easy.
what was the transition for you? Going from what to what?
Stop being the dang manager and involved. Like, you need to do this and you're not hitting these goals. I had a sales guy. I'd say, great. what are your goals for the next month? He would tell me. And then he writes it down and hands it to me. I didn't set up the goals. He knows the goals for the business and how he has to get those goals. But he broke them down in month by month. So he's telling me his goals every month and his status. And I've had people going, I didn't hit my goal this month. And I go, great. What happened? Tell me. Well, this and this and this. Great. How are you going to resolve it? I'm not solving their problem anymore. They're solving their own problem. And it's leadership development is what you're doing.
Love it. Love it. Gang, if you're watching or listening right now, Steve just gave us the rundown on the hiring process that I'm going to go back, actually listen to it myself again, because I have a constant need for employees. And as a call center, we are always looking, and it's actually an industry that is pretty high turnover on team. So I want to go back and watch and listen to that again.
It's funny you mention that, because I had an insurance agency owner. He always was growing. He was growing his business like there was no tomorrow. So he's always hiring. He had an ad out all the time, and he always brought on 2 people and hired one. He goes, every now and then I'll find 2 rock stars. So they passed the 30-day test. They both passed the 60-day test. He says, I don't care. It might hurt me financially for a few months. I hire them both. And his business, and he has minimal turnover. His turnover is they retire, get married, move out of the state, or die. That's his turnover.
Love it. Steve, can you give us one simple marketing strategy that people could use and see results like right away?
Yeah, we mentioned a couple. I would say one of the biggest thing is, what do you have on a lead gen? What can you give away content-wise? We touched on drip campaigns, but what is it that you can give away, capture their information, and get them engaged? That's one of the biggest things. And I've seen it done. I've done this at networking meetings, even. The book. So my book that you mentioned, 45-minute business breakthroughs. I'll give away that dang book, hard copy, at an actual networking meeting in exchange for an appointment. Guess what? I bring 5 books, 5 appointments. It's
nice. You like physical books?
Physical books. Yeah, I'm doing it in person. Absolutely.
So how do you do that? Do you just say, hey, if you book an appointment, you get a book?
Well, I show the book. I say, what's in the book? And I go, I'll give you a complimentary copy. Come talk to me afterwards. So as they're coming up, and I go, what is your business? How long have you been in business? I'm qualifying them. Great. I'm going to give you a book. Let's get you on the calendar right now.
And they say yes. And
they say yes, because you just gave them a gift.
And then these are not people that would like bail out on you, or like they would show up. They don't just do it. Like, what I'm trying to say is, are they not just getting to say yes to the appointment to get the book and then not show up after?
I was getting about 15% no-show rate.
Oh, that's not bad.
No, but I also say,
hey, all day long.
Yeah, it's like, the book's a quick, easy read. You can knock out the whole book in 20 minutes, and it's giving you 8 strategies that you can implement on your own. I go, just think if we have like a 15-minute call and it's a non-sales call, and I do that non-sales call, and it's like, all I'm doing is asking questions about their business. At the end of it, they're starting to go, wait a minute, something's wrong in my business. Now
you're shedding some light on.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So, Steve, tell us about your gift.
Oh, yeah.
The Proven Marketing Secrets ebook.
Absolutely. It's very similar to the 45-minute business breakthrough. So we actually show, I think, 10 strategies in that one, different ones. And what it is, these are strategies that any business owner can implement right away. And that's why I made that book, was because they're proven. And we talked about some of them today. Lead gen, cross-selling, joint ventures, affiliate programs, giving away something, getting them on your lists, increasing your prices. Dang it. If you want a quick hit in your business, increase your prices and lower your costs. It's that simple.
Yeah, actually, as a matter of fact, I think some people, I've seen cases when you raise the price, people will buy more because it means a more significant, a better thing. It means probably more quality, and there's a lot of things associated with that. So,
Yep.
like you said, being the cheapest is
Mm.
not necessarily helping you out.
No, the company I mentioned who raised their prices by 40%, he was known in the industry as the cheapest, not inexpensive, which is better than cheapest. He was known as the cheapest. Same quality, same ingredients as the top manufacturer in the industry. He
What?
rose his prices 40%. 3 months later, he increased it another 25%. That's not 65%, people, when you do the math. It's more like 90% increase of prices. He's now seen as the upper middle of the industry. He tripled his sales once he rose the price the second time.
Oh
Triple.
yeah.
Because now he's seen as higher value. He didn't change his label, didn't change an ingredient, nothing.
But I think most people would be scared shitless to do that.
Oh, he
Like,
was. Oh, he was. Yeah.
it's just like, oh, increase by another 50% Mustafa. Are you crazy?
Yeah.
That's the kind of responses.
Get out the door.
What am I paying you for?
Yeah.
That's a good one.
See why I'm paying you.
So, gang, the link to the Proven Marketing Secrets ebook is in the descriptions of the show. It is in the comments of social media. Go ahead and grab it. Read about the Proven Marketing Secrets. Reach out to Steve. Have a conversation. This guy can help you. He's been around the block for quite some time. He knows his stuff. Has written 8 books on what he does, and generally an amazing guy. Steve, can I ask you a couple of personal questions before we go?
Sure.
All right. What's a new thing you have tried recently?
Oh, what was it called? I've never had farro, the grain.
Farro?
Farro? Am I saying it right? It's
I
a
have no
grain.
clue.
I've never eaten it before, and I've heard about it. It's a Middle Eastern grain, and I've never had it, so I tried it, and I was like, why haven't I ever tried stuff like this? And I've also tried. I made black bean. What was it? Black eyed pea soup, which I've never done before because it's a Southern thing, and I made it, and I was like,
This is
I
good.
love it. So I'm
How do you
trying
spell farro? How do you spell it?
It's like Farro. I know someone will listen to this and go, "Hey, no, it's
Farro.
this." Yeah, I'm trying all
trying
these.
to look it up on Google and see if it's something I've had before.
I've traveled around the world many times, and I've eaten I'll eat almost every single thing. And it's like there's certain foods I'm starting to find out I've never even tried that they're in your grocery store. And I'm like, what's this? I don't know. Let's try it. So I'm just expanding my palate in a weird way, and I love it.
Love it. All right. Give me 2 of your favorite books.
Oh, easy. Think and Grow Rich. The one book that actually changed one of my businesses, a board member told me to read this, was Change or Die.
Change or Die.
Change or Die. And I read it on the way to a conference. I came back. I had an emergency meeting with the board. And I said, I need to make some changes in the business. And the board,
I'm going to die.
They all said, you read the book. And I go, yeah, I did. And I had a 10-page business plan to change the whole business. They let me fire 20% of the staff. I said, I'll try to keep them on the bus, is another great book, On the Bus. I'll try to keep them on. If they won't change, I'm going to let them go, and we're going to have a new focus. They said, do whatever you want. And I went in and changed the business. Our business went. And
Change or Die. Let me look it up. Change or Die.
And it was written about people with heart conditions.
Alan Douchman?
Yes, that's it.
Change or Die. I'm going to add it to the list. All right. So next question. What's one advice that made a massive impact on business or life?
Oh, this one I was the most stubborn person on, and I rejected this. I should say
forever.
Comment, everything is get a coach. And I said, I don't need a coach. I know what I'm doing.
I am a coach.
Rejected it. I finally got a coach, and my life, my business changed within 45 days.
Within
And it
45
was
minutes?
45 days. And
Coaching
then
changed
I
it.
started realizing I got to let my ego go. And I should have done this a lot sooner, because I would have loved life and my business a lot more. So,
How did it change? What was that change like?
oh my God. Well, being no money in the bank, working 20-hour days in my own business. I felt like I was tied to I had my own job, is what it felt like. Home life wasn't better because I'm so stressed out about business. I'm trying everything for marketing, literally everything, and nothing was working. By luck, chance, something should be hitting. And then it was like I rejected the whole idea of getting help and getting a coach. When I got a coach, they said, let's cut out 95% of all this junk. Let's focus on what you really need to focus on. All of a sudden, the business took off. All the marketing that I focused on took off. My home life got better. It was just like, oh my God, what just happened? I went from not sleeping, stressed, not eating, to enjoying life.
Love it. Hey, Aaron, good to see you. Gang, if you're watching or listening, please make sure we're towards the end of the show. Please make sure you're subscribed to the channel on whichever channel you're watching, or follow or subscribe. If you have any questions or just want to say hi, just leave a comment. And here's my last question for you, Steve. And that is, if you had a message that you could display to people around the world, whoever has access to internet, through a Google or a Facebook ad, what would your message be for the people of Earth?
Wow. I'd say be tolerant with one another. Because I think that's the whole thing. People are not tolerant, and that's what's causing a lot of friction. They don't see the other side. They're only seeing their side.
Love it, love it, love it. Steve, is there anything you want to talk about or mention that we maybe didn't get a chance to talk about before we wrap up?
Oh my God, we talked about so much, but my big thing for all business owners is like, listen, get the help you need in your business. I know I'm a victim of it. I'm a product of it as well. And it's changed my life. It changed my business. I mean, I have 2 coaches nowadays. I'm in 2 mastermind groups. I live what I talk. And if you're going to get a coach or anyone, here's what I say. Are they living what they say? Do they have a coach? Are they in a mastermind? Are they growing themselves? Are they helping you grow you and push you like Phil Jackson did to Michael Jordan? Be like that. That's a good coach.
Absolutely. It's like we need to get the hell out of our own way so we can grow. Steve, this has been an absolutely amazing conversation. Thank you for sharing all the value, all the nuggets. Gang, the link to Steve's book is in the comments and the descriptions of the show. Go ahead, click on the link, claim his free book. Do reach out to this wise, intelligent, and experienced man and coach. Tap into his wisdom and grow your business. Thank you for joining us. Have yourself a great week, great day, great month. And again, if you have any questions, put them in the comments and send it out to us, and we'll do our best to cover it. Send the link to the show to a friend that could benefit from all. Steve shared a ton of good stuff. Like, this is literally practical shit that you have to pay for, right? Do that, or tag them in a comment, like and subscribe again, and we'll see you on our next episode. Have a great week. Thank you. Bye now.